Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Let's glam up this beautiful client together. So I start by cleaning her face using my Adventure Micellar cleansing water, after which I went into hydrating her face using my Moist Essence moisturizer. So I just apply a generous quantity all over her face, especially the under eye. So I use my flat face spread brush or foundation brush to just apply my moisturizer. So I just make sure I hydrate her skin very well, especially her under eye, before I move on to primer. So for primer, I'm using the V Beauty Found mattifying primer. Sorry. So I just apply around the area which produces oil. That's around the inner corner of her nose, then the forehead, the chin, and the nose. I use my flat brush again to press everything in. Then I finalize the face prep using my Kiss Beauty Fix or Setting Spray. They are let it to dry. For foundation, I'm using the Avoc foundation in the shade 10. So I just use my small flat brush to apply it on her skin. Then I go in with my CPD beauty sponge to blend in everything, right? So after thoroughly blending her face with my CPD beauty sponge, the next thing I'll be doing is to contour her face, which I use my V Beauty foundation, which is one shade light darker than her skin. So I use the shade Melanin. So I just apply underneath the cheekbone, around the temple. Then I use the same side of my beauty sponge, which I use in blending my foundation, to blend in everything. So after thoroughly blending the one section of her face, I just move to the other, apply underneath the cheekbone and blend. So when you're blending, you blend moving towards the temple. So for blush, I'm using this orange shade from my 3D Girl blush palette. So I just apply around the apple of her cheek, then I blend moving towards the temple. I just put just around that area. So to highlight her face, as to conceal the highlighted area, I'm using my Adventure highlighter or concealer. So I just apply around the under eye, the bridge of her nose, the forehead, the chin, right? Then after that, I use a clean section of my beauty sponge to blend in everything. So while blending, I just make sure after thoroughly blending the highlighter, I just use the another clean section to blend the lines separating the highlighter and the rest of the face, as the contour and the blush. So for the nose contour, I'm still using my V Beauty foundation again, which is one shade darker than her skin, to just contour the side of her nose. Then I use another the section of my beauty sponge which I used to blend the other section which I previously contoured, to blend in. Then I lock in everything using my Kiss Beauty setting spray. So to set the face, I'm using my Miracle setting powder in the shade Ginger. So I just set all the highlighted area, which are the under eye, the bridge of the nose, the forehead, and the chin. So to set the rest of her face, I'm using my powder from my V Beauty powder palette, which is equivalent to her skin tone. So I just use my big fluffy brush to apply to set all the blank spaces. That is the area which has not been highlighted, right? So I just set everything. Then I go in with my face contour. Remember, everything cream, we have to go powder. So I contour her face. I did that off camera. And then for nose contour, I use my powder, which is one shade darker than her skin, to just contour her nose using my small fluffy angle brush. So after contouring the nose, I just use my big fluffy brush to blend in everything. Then I melt down that powder effect using my Kiss Beauty setting spray. Then I use my fan to dry it up. So to bake her face, I'm still using the same Miracle setting powder in the shade Ginger. So I just left generous quantity of the setting powder around the under eye, such that every moisture can be absorbed and the excess eyeshadow fallout will be easily taken off. Moving on to brows, I began by laying down the hair using my brows gel from Nikki's Signature. Then I use the other side of my brush to just press it down further. So after laying down the hair, I go in with my mirror setting powder again in the shade ginger. I just apply on it to make sure every moisture is absorbed. I dust off the excess setting powder using my big fluffy brush. So for the brows, I'm using my KR brows pomade to produce my outline and my Issa and those angle brush. So after producing the outline for one section, I'll use the same for the other section. Then to fill in the brows, I'll use my Davis pencil in the shade 003 and 018. So for 018, I just produce tiny hair-like structure for the beginning, for the beginning of the brows. Then for the other section, I wanted it to look a bit darker. So I use my Davis pencil in the shade 003. Please, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, don't forget to do so. Like, comment, subscribe, and share. Just let me know if you have any question. Just drop it at the comment section, and I'm going to respond ASAP. I always make sure I respond to all comments. If you have any question or if you have any recommendation, if you think I'm not doing anything right, just let me know at the comment section. I'm going to respond to it ASAP. So to conceal her brows, I'm using my spotless concealer. It is one shade lighter than her skin. So I use my small angle brush, again flat angle brush from Issa and those. I use the tips of my angle brush to just conceal. So after that, I'm using my fluffy brush to blend in the excess concealer. Then I use my excess concealer on the brush, just blend and calm towards the beginning. I just left the beginning to be unconcealed because I wanted it to look natural. So after that, I'll do that for the other section of the brows. Use my tips of my angle brush to just conceal the edges of the brows. So when concealing the brows, make sure you don't completely wipe off the outline because the outline that gives the beauty of the brows. So after concealing the lower section of the brows, I'll just go in to conceal the upper section of the brows. So this time I'm mixing I mix that concealer with my foundation, which is one shade darker than her skin. So I just mix the two. I didn't want the upper section to be looking too dark, and I just wanted it to look natural. So after that, I just use the tips again of my angle brush to conceal. Then I use my fluffy brush to blend in the excess concealer. So when it comes to makeup, we don't leave anything, we don't leave any moisture. So after concealing, I'm going in with my powder for my V Beauty powder palette, which is equivalent to the concealed area. So I just applied on the area. I use the lighter, the concealer. And then for the beginning, I use my powder, which is one shade darker than her skin. We're not using the same shade we used for the other section. We use one shade darker than her skin because we want that area to look as natural as possible. So for the upper section, I still use the shade which is equivalent to what I use in concealing. So moving on to eyeshadow, I'm using my Adventure concealer. So I just place on the eyelid where the eyeball lies. Then I use my fluffy brush to blend in the excess, blend in the concealer. So I make sure I blend thoroughly such that there will be no harsh lines. So after doing for one section, I just go to the other section, blending thoroughly to make sure there is no harsh line on her eye. So for eyeshadow, I start by placing this light pink shade from my Gorgeous Me eyeshadow palette. So I just start by placing it, moving from the inner corner of her eyes, and I go towards the middle section. So after doing that for that section, I could just go to the other section, do the same thing. Then this time around, this is the only shade I'm using for my eyeshadow palette. Next, I'm going in with my powder. I using that darker shade, yeah, for my VBD powder palette. So I just applied around. If your eyeshadow does not have this shade, right, you can use your powder palette. So I'm using my. I just want to show you guys how to interchange, like how you to use your powder palette as eyeshadow. So I use that darker section, the darker powder for the outer corner of the eye. Then moving towards the inner corner, I go in with that one shade lighter than that darker color, the darker shade, sorry. So after that, I just place in some more pink shade on the eyeball, right? Because you can, as you can see, when while applying that other darker shade, it, we blend thoroughly. So I just place in this other one such that it should be more pigmented. Can you see? They use your fluffy brush to blend again around the edges. So I just do the same for this other section. Can you see? I just wanted a very soft look. It shouldn't be harsh, right? So after that, I just blend in, blend and blend. When it comes to makeup, the power of makeup is blending. We have to blend and blend. So for her under eye, I'm using that purple shade to just smoke out her under eye. Can you see? Yeah. So my client said she wanted a touch of pigment. So I just start by placing this liner. This pigment is actually a pigment liner, like glitter liner. So I just placed it. My glitter glue is finished, so I just improvise. So I'm placing that on her eyelid. Since it dries up, then I go in with my glitter from Avon Cosmetic. So I just place on the eyelid. I use that, it's kind of like looking pink. I don't know how I can call the color. So I just place it around just the eyeball, where the eyeball lies, right? Then to line her eyes, I'm using the black brows pomade from KR Makeup.
I've seen a lot of change, been through a lot of pain. Some things are not the same as they were a year ago, but all will be okay. I move on each and every day. The past is where it stays, way back a year ago. I've changed for the better this time. I thought I would never be fine. I strive just to say I'm alright, and for the first time in a long time I'm alright. I've seen a lot of change, been through a lot of pain. Some things are not the same as they were a year ago, but all will be okay. I move on each and every day. The past is where it stays, way back a year ago. I'm not falling. I'll push all my chips and call all in. I'll bet on myself, you keep stalling. I hear destiny and it's calling. I'll keep my head up high through the downs and lows, and we're all going life. Still nobody knows, but I'ma choose what's right and take what comes and goes. And ain't no one in life holding me back no more. I've seen a lot of change, been through a lot of pain. Some things are not the same as they were a year ago, but all will be okay. I move on each and every day. The past is where it stays, way back a year ago. Back a year ago, I've changed for the better this time. I thought I would never be fine. I strive just to say I'm alright. And for the first time in a long time, I'm alright. I've seen a lot of change, been through a lot of pain. Some things are not the same as they were a year ago, but all will be okay. I move on each and every day. The past is where it stays, way back a year ago.
So to lock and seal the makeup, I use my all-nighter spray. Yeah, I just asked her to hold her breath for some time. So guys, this is the end of the video. This is the finished look. Thank you so much for watching, and please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe and share. Bye.